much for doing this, because you know what? I think there's such a need for people to understand why South Africans move across. And, you know, to listen to other expat stories is just not the same. You have to get it from a South African, because we are such a special breed, and we've got a different culture altogether. So taking an American, putting them in Canada or Australia and having the same conversation is not the same.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I want to know a little bit more about you. When did you move to Canada? How long have you been there?
I've been in Canada now for 8 years. I moved here in 2013.
Okay. What was the reason? Why did you decide to move?
To be honest with you, I came to visit my cousins and I fell in love with the natural resources here in Canada.
It is an amazing country, isn't it?
It's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you should go and visit Banff. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Amazing. And I see there's a lot of nature and a lot of waterfalls, and I see that you're a nature person. 100%.
Yes. 1000%.
But I also hear that you've got an accent.
A South African accent?
No,
yes, I do.
not at all. A Canadian accent.
No, you lie.
I suppose that happens after a while.
Ek is 'n boeremeisie.
Yeah, boeremeisie. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where did you come from? Where did you live in South Africa?
So I was born in Pretoria, and then in my adult life, I lived in Johannesburg, Gauteng.
Okay, so you upcountry girl.
Yeah, like pretty much a suburban girl.
All right, so you definitely Afrikaner in heart and soul.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I studied at the University of Pretoria.
Pret Auraya. That is so funny. And listen, so tell me a little bit. You said you didn't make use of any lawyers to get there. You did it all by yourself. Did you just read up? What was your process like?
I mean, obviously the benefit for a first world environment is everything is very easily accessible. So after I came to visit my cousins and I decided to immigrate, I just did a bit of research, and the first step was to obviously get an offer of employment. Yeah. So that was the first step that I did. I started searching around for opportunities. I have to inform you, out west, there are many opportunities. You know, it's almost like the emerging markets here. I mean, Saskatoon is an example. In Saskatchewan, it's booming. I got job offers there within the first day of doing a job search. I got like 3 job offers in one day. The situation out east is a little bit more complex, especially in the East Coast. I'm making reference to Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. There you're looking at about a 6-month turnaround time for finding a job offer. So if I were to start from the beginning, I would start off either in Alberta, Saskatchewan, or British Columbia.
Okay, that's very, very informative. Elizabeth, what is your background? What do you do for a living? What is it that you studied?
Well, at the University of Pretoria, I study drama and communications. So I have a cum laude bachelor's degree in drama. And I studied for 3 years. And after accepting a full-time position as an actress for one of the best known production studios in South Africa, I'm not going to mention the name. I decided I decided to change my career to advertising.
Oh, okay.
I have, in theory, been an actress since I was like 3 years old, because my mom, she was in the film industry, and my dad, he's a lecturer at the university teaching acting. So
also at Pretoria.
Correct. at the
Okay.
University of Pretoria. And I decided to change my career in advertising. And that was the career skill that brought me to Canada as a new immigrant.
Wow, that's interesting. So it's still in the arts. So you're still doing what you love.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Branding, marketing, acting. I mean, obviously, you need to have work experience.
Yeah.
You need to have extensive work experience.
Mm.
What Canada does is they pretty much give you points based on merits that you have. As an example, your education, your work experience. You need to have at least 3 years of work experience in your specialty field. In
Yes.
addition to that, you obviously must be very healthy.
Mm.
They physically do medical checkups to make
Mm.
sure that you come over as a healthy person. And you must not have any medical record. In other words, if you were ever caught drunk driving, you unfortunately will not be able to enter Canada even as a tourist. If you have that.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good place to be, because I mean, we've got that all over the show here. It's a problem. It really is a problem.
Yeah, for sure. So, what I did as a next step was, after accepting a position, because I did the immigration process through the smallest province in Canada, known as Prince Edward Island, it took me 6 months to do a job search. But after I got the job offer, I immigrated through the provincial nominee program of Prince Edward Island. And in order to obtain a work permit, it took me 2 months.
Wow, that's very
Um,
quick.
Oh yeah, it was really very quick. So I mean, once you get an offer of employment, it's really easy to immigrate. After obtaining the work permit,
Mm.
it took me between 5 and 6 months to obtain permanent residency. Back in the day when I applied for citizenship, we did not have the express entry program that we currently have.
Mm.
But still, it took me 5 to 6 months to get my permanent residency regardless. You know how I did it?
Tell
I
me.
pretty much, I knocked on members of parliament's doors, literally. That's the benefit of living in a small province.
Yeah.
You know everybody. I mean, there's 135,000 people living on Prince Edward Island. So you have the capacity to know every member of parliament personally. And I just continued bugging them, telling them, listen, guys, this driven South African, she wants to immigrate. She wants to become a Canadian, actually a dual citizen. So I got to the point where they hand delivered my folder to the Honorable Minister of Immigration, Chris Alexander.
Oh my word, Elizabeth. But that is what a South African can do, isn't it? We are
Yeah,
so resilient. We just
oh
do
yeah,
the things that we want to do. We absolutely do it. We get the job done.
exactly.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, quickly tell me, you are still a dual citizen?
Yes, I became a Canadian citizen in December 2018.
Mm.
Before I applied for becoming a Canadian citizen, what the South African Embassy requires is that you go to the embassy and you ask South Africa permission whether you can retain your South African citizenship.
Mm.
It is absolutely crucial to follow that step, because if you don't do that, you might lose your South African citizenship.
Yeah.
The reason why I decided to become a dual citizen is obviously because I'm proudly South African,
Yeah.
and I tried to convince my whole family to come to Canada, but all of them are very happy in South Africa. My
Okay.
parents, they're like, what? We're not going to like the winters. We have all our friends in South Africa. So I also have property investments in South Africa. I retained keeping 3 residential properties, which I currently use for investment purposes. And after I applied for becoming a citizen, it took 11 months to write the citizenship test. And then I had my citizenship ceremony exactly 1 year later.
Wow.
So the rollout is really very efficient. It's pretty much work permit 2 months, permanent residency 6 months, citizenship 5 years. So
Yeah.
you can do this whole rollout easily within a 5 to 6 year period.
Fantastic. But you were quite young when you went there?
This was 8 years ago. Before that, I'm going to be transparent with you. Before that, I lived in the Middle East. I lived in
Okay.
Israel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
and I accepted a position doing the branding for pharmaceutical brands throughout Europe. And what I did over there was just applying to become a temporary resident. I decided not to make that my permanent home
Mm.
for a number of reasons. So I've been outside of South Africa since 2007.
Okay, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, I came over as an adult.
Yeah. Elizabeth, what is your feeling? Would you ever come back to South Africa, or is this your home? You're not thinking of coming back anytime soon?
Oh, no, I will definitely always consider to come back to South Africa. That's exactly one of the reasons why I retained my properties. I mean, within a heartbeat, I can go back to my old life.
Mm.
Another benefit that you folks aren't aware of, the sunshine.
Yeah,
That is one of your key selling points. Literally, for us to become snowbirds, to fly over to South Africa during the winter months. That's pretty much what we aspire to do once we retire.
mm.
So what I try to do is I try and visit South Africa at least once a year. Currently, it's a little bit difficult to fly
Difficult,
over to
yes.
South Africa,
Yeah.
but yeah, for sure, I am definitely not gonna cut my ties with South Africa ever.
Okay. That's good to know, because a lot of people feel a bit iffy. They don't want to come back to South Africa. They've had a bad experience. You know, you've been out of the country a long time. Some of the people have
Yeah.
really had bad experiences and they've cut their ties. They don't want to come back. And it's sad. It is really sad because we have got a beautiful country. It is a stunning
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Today is dreary. It's cold and it's raining. I was going to do it on the patio. I've got a beautiful sea view. I live in Hermanus, but it is
Ah,
cold. It is freezing and it's been raining for 2 days. So I decided to do it indoors. But yes, you're right. You know, we're not all made for the snow. We actually are so used to having outdoor days and weekends in the sun and beaches and stuff like that. It becomes difficult, I suggest, or I can think, if you are indoors, how long? 6, 8 months of the year? How long is your winter?
well, the spring and the fall, I would say that's equivalent to South African winters.
Mm.
Um, so you have 6 months of very bad cold weather, and you have 6 months of very good weather. I mean, the benefit of Canada is you have 4 seasons.
Yeah.
That is something we don't experience in South Africa, but you just need to purchase a parka, warm gloves, and winterized accessories, and you're as good as gold. You
Mm.
can go out and enjoy the winter sports. That is something that you definitely need to do when you immigrate to Canada. You
Yeah.
need to embrace the winter. I mean, I'm
Mm.
a very positive person. I always try and see the silver lining of every cloud, and you must go outside and enjoy the snow, do downhill skiing, go and do snowshoeing if you live in Ontario inside the forests. Go and do ski joring if you have dogs, having dog sleighs. It's really magical to experience a white Christmas in Canada. But at the same breath, it's beautiful to enjoy the sunshine for a max period of 6 months per annum.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. Elizabeth, do
Yeah.
you travel a lot? Have you been to
Yes.
America? Have you been elsewhere while you've been living there? Is it easy to travel? I'm not talking about the COVID period. Obviously, this is a thing that we don't want to talk about right now. But besides COVID, have you been doing a lot of traveling? Is it easier to travel from there?
Yeah, I travel a lot. Domestic travel is more expensive than international travel, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because Canada is a new country for me, I travel domestically because I want to obviously get to know my own country. So I've
Yeah.
almost been in every province. But in addition to that, it's very easy to go to sunny locations down south.
Mm.
As an example, to go to exotic islands like Bermuda, that's only a 5-hour flight away. That's an island that I did visit in 2018. I've been to Mexico twice. People love to go to Mexico. It's
I
very cheap
know.
there. You can easily access Europe as well. It's a mere 6-hour flights away.
Yeah.
I'd say it's very central.
Mm.
Word of warning. If you love traveling, don't live in a remote province, like don't live in the Northwest Territories or Yukon. Live in a city like Toronto because it's very central, you know, in order to access the rest of America and the rest of the world.
Mm.
But if you live in a small province like Newfoundland and Labrador, you have to take into account travel and cost expenses incurred just to come to a main hub like Toronto.
It sounds like South Africa.
Yes.
Oh, shame, man. All right. So, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I think we've explored quite a bit, and I'm so grateful that you are sharing your story with us. We're going to be
For
putting
sure.
this on YouTube, and I have got the people are WhatsApping me and sending me questionnaires. You will not believe the amazing amount of people that's come back and said, listen, I want to talk to you. Let's put it out there. We really believe that people need to benefit from what we've experienced. One last question that I want to ask you. What is the best thing about Canada for you as a person? And what do you miss most about South Africa?
The best thing about Canada is diversity. In a city like Toronto, you pretty much have the whole world in one city. And the beauty of that is we embrace diversity. So there's 1000% acceptance of different cultures.
Wow.
This week, all of us decide, okay, great, this is a Filipino weekend. So all of us have street parties where we eat Filipino food and we embrace their cultural differences. Yeah. And we also respect all religions. So I would definitely say the key strength of Canada is diversity. Another point that I would like to highlight is within Canada, the perception of immigration is admired. They admire our strength for leaving behind our familiar territories and for bringing our strengths to their country. So they embrace immigration programs. And I heard that this is not the case in a number of other countries.
Yeah.
The social pillars are also very strong in Canada. As an example, between jobs, they have employment insurance that will look out for you if you are unemployed. They also have very low home loan interest rates. I mean, I bought a condo end of last year. I am paying 1.79% on interest.
Oh my word. That is something else.
Yeah. And in addition to that, of course, medical aid is free. So you can get a hip replacement for free. I mean,
that is unbelievable. That is really unbelievable. And I think that is what's become extremely attractive for people wanting to go to Canada and places like Panama, where the medical is also virtually free and they've got amazing doctors. How many South Africans have you got contact with within the area that you live in?
Well, my cousin that I came to visit, she's a family physician and her husband is a family physician as well. He works at ER, she works at a clinic. I have a number of friends who are former South Africans who are currently doctors throughout Canada, also in the East Coast as well. There's also a lot of farmers. They move over to Saskatchewan, but I just have to point out each province in Canada is like a different country. They all have their own driver's license, their own health cards,
Oh my
and
word.
also the whole experience is like you're visiting a different country. Let me give you a comparison. If you want to experience Cape Town, move to British Columbia. It rains a lot, but the weather is very mild and it hardly ever snows. So British Columbia, it is an urban experience amongst the mountains, but you have access to the ocean. If you want to experience Johannesburg, move to Toronto. That is the financial hub. We might not have the mountains, but from a career growth point of view, it is highly recommended to move here, make your money, and then move out west or east to retire.
Yeah.
So Toronto is highly recommended for the go-getters. Then if you want to have a beautiful laid-back experience, visit or live in any of the maritime provinces like Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, or New Brunswick. And if you are an equestrian and if you like steaks, and if you are adventurous, I would recommend that you move to Alberta. The summers are very short though, and it's extremely cold in the winter.
Fantastic. My word, that's a mouthful. You've obviously traveled a bit and you've got to know the area quite well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Elizabeth, how many of your friends in Canada are South Africans besides the family? Have you got, do you do get-togethers with South Africans or not really? Have they just taken you on as a Canadian and now you visit with all the Canadians, or are you visiting with South Africans as well?
So we do have a South African association here in Toronto, in the Greater Toronto area. We do gather around on weekends and we go camping together. We actually have potjiekos competitions, and we usually spend about 3 days together camping. We also import musicians over. There's I'd say about 10,000 South Africans who correspond with one another on a private Facebook group. I would say I have about 10 South African friends who live here in Canada. One of them, she's actually my neighbor. She lives 800 meters from me, and I have the benefit of being able to run to her and share some of my biltong recipe with her, and vice versa. Like, we always help one another. We treat each other like family. Funny story, I actually picked her up walking on the beach, and I heard them speaking Afrikaans, and I told them, I apologize for eavesdropping, but hello, hoe gaan het?
Awesome.
And you will realize you become friends immediately. It doesn't matter of your background. If you meet a South African, especially if you hear someone swearing in Afrikaans in the street, you turn around and you hug that person. Well, that's my experience.
That's my bestie.
We also, oh, beautiful. We also have grocery stores here in the Greater Toronto area who sell South African, groceries. And I'm very happy to be able to purchase Simba chips.
Awesome.
Obviously biltong and droewors. And we are very close-knit South African community here in the GTA. And in every province, there is a close-knit South African community who support one another. What we do is we assist you with the onboarding process. We guide you to the point where we're even able to pick you up at the airport. And some of us, if we do have the means to donate some furniture and some clothing your way, that's just what we do, right?
Fantastic. That is amazing. It sounds like you're having fun, Elizabeth, and it sounds like you're really, really enjoying it.
Yes.
Please, when you're ever in South Africa, Hermanus Way, down in the Cape, hook up with me. Let's go have a cup of coffee. Let's go sit down on the beach and have a nice chat. I would love to meet you in person. We are thinking of going over just for a little visit to Canada, but obviously due to all the drama right now, we all put probably for the next 2 years.
I have a condo that's currently empty, so I'm more than happy to host you. I also have a property in Blue Horizon Bay, so the chances of me crossing your path very soon is very probable.
That
For
would
sure.
be fantastic. Please knock on our door. You know that we're hospitable. We'd love to meet with you and sit down and have a nice glass of red wine, proper red wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
It is amazing.
I want to share another thing with you.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know, but Toronto and Canada as a whole is pretty much the hub. We are known as the kind of like a Hollywood North. The majority of Hollywood movies get shot either in Vancouver, Calgary, or Toronto. So if you're in the film industry, I mean, this is where it's at. I have had the fortunate opportunity, as an example, my first employment here in Toronto was to spend 3 months on a Matt Damon movie.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it is not public knowledge, but start reading about the locations on the movies that you watch. The majority of them, they pretend to have a New York City location or a LA location,
Yes.
but the majority of them are being shot here in Canada. Why? Because the American production film companies get a tax benefit if they shoot their movies in Canada, and also because currency exchange, the Canadian dollar is worth less than the American dollars. So if you're in the film industry, if you're an actress, if you're a crew member, this is definitely a place where you can gain experience working on American feature films. Another benefit for the film industry is that Netflix have decided to create their head office in Canada, here in Toronto as well. So the film industry is booming and it's very exciting. You physically jog on the road, the next minute you see film crew literally across the road, and you kind of like have to jump over the film equipment while you do your training.
Can you believe it?
So it's a very, very exciting city
it sounds like it. It sounds very fast as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I did not answer one of your questions. The first question was, you asked me about what is the key selling point of Canada, and you had a second question about South Africa. Do you mind repeating that question? I
asked you if you'd ever consider coming back to South Africa, and you said absolutely yes. I think what I also asked you is, what do you miss most about South Africa? Family.
You know what? What I miss most about South Africa is I traveled the world without my family and my friends and everybody that knows me. So when it's public holidays like Christmas, Mother's Day, it is a little bit hard not to have your family with you, not having anyone that you know next to you. But that's the benefit of living in the 21st century. We have got technology at our disposal where we can have video conferences. And I'm happy that nowadays I'm talking to my parents more than I would talk to them when I lived in South Africa, because of technology, right? Through WhatsApp and through Skype and through social channels. They know more about me now on a daily basis than what they knew about me in the past, prior to leaving South Africa in 2007. But it is a little bit hard to celebrate public family holidays without anyone present. So what we usually do is I have a lot of immigrant friends, and all of us just celebrate Christmas together. We have a big fire pit in the backyard, right? And that is how we celebrate family holidays together as friends.
That's fantastic. So you've embraced this whole journey 100%, 1000%.
Yes.
And I wonder, you know, a person talk to so many people and it becomes so overwhelming when they start looking at this. And I really take my hat off to people like you, Elizabeth, that's just embraced the whole journey, gone with it, and seen all the positive that there is possibly to see. So I really want to thank you. And we are going to connect again. I am going to post this on YouTube, and I would like everyone to sign up, look at it, participate, because that is how we're going to win and how we're going to get the real good experiences out to people. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You go off, have a fantastic Friday. My Friday is ended. I'm going to pour myself a glass of wine now and just sit outside and enjoy what's left of the day.
Jeannie, before I leave, I have one question for you.
Yes.
What is the South African tax law change that you mentioned in the questionnaire?
You know what? I'm busy looking at someone that's going to have a chat with me, a lawyer, because it is how it sounds. Look, it's changed over from the 1st of March. That is when it happened. Whereas in the past, you could work overseas. I think it was if you work overseas for longer than 6 months, you don't pay any taxes. Now it's changed where whatever you own, whatever your assets are overseas and your income is overseas, you can be taxed. So there is a lot of people looking into this. There's benefits, but there's also definite negatives. And I'm busy talking to a lawyer that is going to explain it in a little bit more detail. I don't want to talk about it if I don't have the complete and full story around it, because I think it is very important. Some of the people that I've spoken to now in the last week that are in Canada, I started with Canada, but we're moving all over the world now, has definitely said that they are now seriously looking at divorcing fiscally from South Africa because of that. Because now you've got a tax implication in Canada, plus you've got a tax implication here. What the impact is 100%, I can't tell you.
Because the reason I'm asking is I still pay a CA in South Africa and I do my tax returns in both countries.
Yes.
So I file my taxes because I have worldwide income that I have to declare to the Canadian Revenue Agency on an annual basis, right?
Yeah.
So my rental income in South Africa, I have to declare it in South Africa. And because South Africa and Canada has a tax treaty, South Africa currently respects the fact that it all depends on which country you live in. So you have to pay for the municipal expenses, right? Yeah. So in Canada, I'm paying taxes for my worldwide income, my profit in South Africa, plus of course my payroll and any income that I earn in Canada. But South Africa currently does not expect me to pay taxes for my payroll and my income in Canada. I'm only paying taxes for my income in South Africa, right? So currently my CA and my lawyers have informed me it depends where you spend your time, most of your time. That's where you have to declare and pay your taxes.
Yeah.
And because South Africa and Canada have this tax treaty, it prevents you from getting taxed twice.
Yeah. It has changed, Elizabeth. And by the sounds of it, what I do understand is that South Africa is now going to look at what are you paying in Canada, and whatever the balance is probably going to be taxed in South Africa, whichever is the highest bracket. What the intricacies and the truth is behind this, because I think people are still trying to figure it out. That's why I said we have to, I think, bring someone, a professional on board. We can read through those stacks of papers, but to understand and interpret it, you've got to really know what you're doing. So I'd like to get someone professional on board to have that conversation and explain to us in layman's terms, what is the implication? I know there's a lot of people running foul. They're very scared. They want to divorce fiscally from South Africa. I'm not 100% sure if it's the right thing to do. And also, that means that you want to sell up and take your stuff abroad, whatever you've got fiscally, you've got to take abroad. And that's also going to be taxed. So person's really got to look at the whole thing from an analytical point of view and get the right people to answer the right questions, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Please keep me posted. Where can I?
I'm going to put it on the group. I'll probably by Monday have the YouTube channel open, and I'm going to put as much information in there as possible. I've got Americans, Panamanians, people from Panama that are South Africans. We've got Canadians, we've got English, we've got Australia, we've got Italy, we've got France. We've got so many people wanting to do this, to explain what their experience is. So yes, as much as we can possibly put on there, we're going to put on there. So it's up to you to subscribe, share, and do the whole thing.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend and be blessed.
Same to you.
Thanks then.
Bye.
Keep well. Bye-bye.